Good day, everyone. This is our final lessons, and this is the very first to the three videos for our final lessons. Since we don't have ample time to cover them all, then we have to resort into recording for us to cover the topics for finals. The very first lesson for finals is to be learning to be a better student. So there are five learning outcomes for us to understand this particular topic. Number one, for us to explain and learn, of course, how learning works into human beings. Second is for us to identify the parts of the brain when it comes to learning, and then the importance of neuroplasticity and its activity when we are learning, and its implication to learning, of course, and then discuss the influence of metacognition and self-regulation in learning. And of course, last but not the least, is to apply strategies to improve our learning styles. We first define learning, this from a behaviorist or behaviorist perspective. Behaviorists define learning as a relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of a practice or experience. So something like learning from patterns or behavioral learning. This is learning by patterns. Basically, it is adapted through social activities of behaviorists. Cognitive psychologists define learning as a process that leads to change as a result of experience. Then third is learning is the acquisition of knowledge, skills, and attitudes through experience. So learning experience yung pangatlo, yung pangalawa ay pertaining to how psychologists define learning as a process that leads to change. That is basically rooted into day-to-day experiences, and then man is learning from them. No? Para bang by means of daily experiences, man's decision or man's actions is basically grounded into his day-to-day experience. It is a transformational process that leads to a personal growth and development. Usually, we when we learn from our mistakes, that usually it gives us somehow growth, in and out. That's why it is also important to learn by experiential, by social patterns, and all other forms of learning. Learning helps the individual to adapt in the new environment, and of course, learning is a constant process. So it doesn't end pagkatapos ng elementary. Learning doesn't end pagkatapos ng high school, senior high school, college, and all that. Learning doesn't stop. Actually, it is progressive process because until we die, basically we're still learning. It's a constant process. We learn every day. We learn every time. Now, what is happening to the brain when or during the learning process? Learning new knowledge and skills every day keeps the structures of the brain changing and increase its ability to learn. Sinasabi sa atin na when we are learning, if we are reading, if we are trying to understand things, the brain is very active. Although all throughout the day, 24/7, the brain is active. But when we are learning, when we are studying, the brain is capable of creating new connections or interconnections between neurons and reorganization of information in processing areas. So, let's say, for example, if we are taking quizzes or exams, and then there is difficulty in answering the exams or quizzes, the brain is actually very active, during that particular moment because interconnections are being developed from one neuron to another. Sinasabi na pag nahihirapan tayo, pag nahihirapan ang utak natin, basically we are learning and we are developing new neurons. Let's say, for example, kung hindi ka naman nahihirapan sa quizzes or exams or things come so easy, sinasabi na there is no learning from that. That is because perhaps it is just grounded on memorization, which is the lowest form when it comes to learning if we are to follow Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, so the process of neuroplasticity or changes in the structure and functions of the neurons in the brain usually happen in the cerebral cortex, which is wrinkled layer of the brain. In the images of the brain, uh, many parts of it are wrinkled anyway. But to be very particular, learning is happening in the cerebral cortex. Okay? All parts of the brain has particular function. Learning happens in the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is packed with neurons for the most sophisticated or responsible for the most sophisticated information processing in the brain. The cerebral cortex plays a key role in human learning and thought, memory, and language. In our lessons in UTS, let's say for example in prelim and midterm, some way we have seen John Locke and Rene Descartes how the mind is working when it comes to learning, or how we learn from our day-to-day experiences, and how the brain works when it comes to cognition and in relation to experiences. So kung susundan natin si John Locke, we learn from experiences, the cerebral cortex is in charge of processing the information taken from the experiences. If we are to follow Rene Descartes, then we believe that cognition happens in the brain, and that sensual experiences has no function at all when it comes to learning process. When we are to follow Rene Descartes, we always believe that we have innate ideas and inborn principles. So whether Descartes or Locke we are to follow, uh, there is one thing that is for sure: cerebral cortex is responsible for the information happening in the brain when it comes to learning. Meron tayong tinatawag na metacognition and self-regulated learning. Now, what is metacognition and self-regulated learning? It is the awareness of one's thinking and the strategies of one is using to learn. So basically, lahat ng estudyante may kanya-kanyang learning strategies or learning styles. Metacognition refers to higher order of cognition or about cognition, and metacognition is simply defined as cognition about cognition or thinking about thinking. So medyo philosophical din yan, no? That is to say grounded to Rene Descartes, pwede natin sabihin yan. Ano? When we say metacognition, is awareness of one's thinking and strategies one is using to learn. We can have creativity or application of the learnings that we have earned from school and from our other people, no? Or from social experiences. When you say metacognition is application of the things that we have learned, and or uh, saan na nababagay yung mga natutunan natin from time to time. You see, metacognition is a higher form. Later, I will show you Bloom's taxonomy for us to understand higher order of thinking. Uh, One good example for this particular topic. John Clavel identified two components of cognition, metacognition knowledge and metacognitive regulation. Metacognitive knowledge includes knowledge of one's cognitive abilities, cognitive tasks, and knowledge of the strategies to complete the cognitive task. While metacognitive regulation refers to one's uh, individual monitoring of and controls one cognitive processes. To Barry Zimmerman, he defines self-regulated learning or SRL as the process in which students systematically direct their thoughts and feelings and actions toward the attainment of their academic goals. Para bang everything is planned. No? Self-regulated risk describes a process of taking control and evaluating one's own learning and behavior. In a simple word, self-regulated learning is a process of taking control of evaluating one's own learning. Ang madalas kong binigay na example sa dalawang slide na to, itong SRL na to, and then metacognitive learning from John Clavel to Barry Zimmerman, and then self-regulated learning. Ang sinasabi ko dito madalas when it comes to uh, learning by particular students and particular student, we should have plan for the day, and then the plan of the day should be worked out. Para bang plan your work and work on your plan. When you are studying, when you are a student, you should have one particular goal, and that is to learn and to finish all your studies. That is one thing that is for sure. How can you attain good learning? Plan your work and work your plan. There are so many ways for you to become a better student, and even your teachers cannot actually tell you what is the best way for you to do it. Learning to be a better student is basically will start from you. Your teachers will only guide you. Your teachers will only tell you what to do, and somehow your teachers will help you how to learn things which is new to you. But learning deeply and the application of learning will start from you. So learning to be a better student will basically start from us. on the things we do every day. So what we have to consider is discipline when it comes to studies. Then we have to very diligent when it comes to understanding our lessons. And then of course we have to have a good time management when it comes to learning processes. So that is very short uh, video presentation for this particular lesson. Anyway, this particular lesson is very easy to understand, and I hope that you do well with your own styles when it comes to learning process. I'm pretty sure that your own style will help you grow when it comes to your academics. See you on the next video for this particular lesson for final. So there is a continuation for this particular lesson. So thank you and goodbye.